Chapter 8, Flow of Food, Preparation. So while prepping food, there are some general guidelines I'd like you to follow. Make sure that your workstations, cutting boards, utensils are clean and sanitized. Remove only as much food from the refrigerator or cooler as you can prep in a short period of time. Remember, cumulative exposure or time exposure adds up, and in fact could allow pathogen growth to get to a level where you could not render the food safely later by cooking. So make sure you return food as quickly as possible to the cooler or cook it as quickly as possible. The consumer really is shying away from food and food color additives or any type of additives in food, so use them sparingly, if at all, and only use additives that are approved by local and federal regulations. Never use more additives than are allowed. Never use additives that alter the appearance of food. Do not sell produce that has been treated with sulfites, or do not treat your produce with sulfites. Not only are we asked to prepare foods in a way that is safe for customers, we're also required to offer customers food in a way that does not mislead them or misinform them. Customers must be able to judge by the true appearance of the food, the true color, and the true quality of the food. So food must be presented honestly, and if it's not honestly presented, it must be thrown out. Food that has become unsafe must be thrown out unless it can be safely reconditioned. All food, especially ready-to-eat food, must be thrown out if the situation highlighted in the slide happens, when handled by a staff member that has been restricted or excluded, or when it's been contaminated by hands or by bodily fluids such as nose drippage or mouth drippage or sweat. Or when food has exceeded time and temperature parameters, it must be discarded. Sometimes food can be restored to safe conditions. This is called reconditioning. For example, a hot food that has been held at the correct temperature may be reheated if it has not been in the temperature danger zone for more than 2 hours. When frozen food is thawed and exposed to the temperature danger zone, pathogens in the food or on the food will begin to grow. To reduce this growth, never thaw food at room temperature. There are 4 methods that are appropriate for thawing foods. Thaw food in a cooler, keeping its temperature at 41 degrees Fahrenheit or lower. Submerge food under running drinkable water at 70 degrees Fahrenheit or lower. During this process, never allow the temperature of the food to go above 41 degrees Fahrenheit for more than 4 hours. Thaw food in a microwave only if the food is cooked immediately after thawing, or thaw as part of the cooking process. Because of concerns about the potential for botulism, frozen fish in ROP packaging, reduced oxygen packaging, has special handling concerns. Frozen fish received in ROP packaging must be thawed carefully. If the label states that the product must be frozen until use, then remove the fish from the packaging before thawing under refrigeration, or before or immediately after thawing under running water. When prepping meat, seafood, or poultry, use clean and sanitized work areas, cutting boards, knives, and utensils. Prep these items separately or at different times from produce. Remove only as much product as can be prepped in a short period of time. Return raw ingredients to the cooler as quickly as possible after prepping them. When prepping salads containing TCS ingredients, prep the food in small batches. Make sure leftovers are properly stored and handled. Chicken, tuna, eggs, pasta, and potato salads All have been involved in foodborne illness outbreaks. These salads usually are not cooked after preparation. This means you do not have a chance to reduce pathogens such as Staphylococcus aureus that may have gotten into the salad during preparation. Always check the use by dates before using ingredients. When prepping salads containing TCS ingredients, consider chilling all ingredients and utensils before combining them. Leave food in the cooler until all ingredients will be mixed. When prepping eggs and egg mixtures, handle pooled eggs, if allowed, with care. Cook promptly after mixing or store at 41 degrees Fahrenheit or lower. Wash and sanitize containers between batches. Pooled eggs are eggs that are stored in a bowl that are cracked and stored in a bowl. Consider using pasteurized shell eggs and egg products when prepping dishes that need little or no cooking. Promptly clean and sanitize equipment used to prep eggs. When prepping eggs for high-risk populations, use pasteurized eggs or egg products when serving raw or undercooked dishes. Unpasteurized shell eggs can be used if a dish will be cooked all the way through, in a cake or in an omelet. Use pasteurized shell eggs if eggs will be pooled. When prepping breaded or battered foods, prep batter in small batches. Store unused batter as quickly as possible. Throw out unused batter or breading after a set amount of time. Do not overload fryer baskets. Make sure items are cooked all the way through. Batters or breading prepped with eggs or milk run the risk of time temperature abuse and cross-contamination. To package fresh juice for later sale, the juice must be treated, pasteurized according to the approved HACCP plan. As an alternative, the juice must be labeled as specified by federal regulations. Wash produce thoroughly under running water. This is especially important before cutting, cooking, or combining it with other ingredients. The water should be a little warmer than the produce. Pay special attention to leafy greens such as lettuce and spinach. Remove the outer leaves and pull the lettuce or spinach completely apart and rinse it thoroughly. Produce can be washed with water containing ozone to sanitize it. Check with your regulatory authority. When soaking or storing produce in standing water or in an ice slurry, do not mix different items, multiple batches of the same items. Certain chemicals may be used to wash fruits and vegetables. Produce can be treated by washing it in water containing ozone. This treatment helps control pathogens. Refrigerate and hold sliced melons, cut tomatoes, and cut leafy greens at 41 degrees Fahrenheit or lower. Do not serve raw seed sprouts if primarily serving high-risk populations. Make ice from water that is safe to drink. Never use ice as an ingredient if it was used to keep food cold. Transfer ice using clean and sanitized containers and scoops. Never transfer ice in containers that were used to hold chemicals or raw meat, seafood, or poultry. Store ice scoops outside ice machines in a clean, protected location. Never use a glass to scoop ice or touch ice with your hands. Some preparation practices will require special permission. You will need a variance when prepping food in certain ways. A variance is a document issued by your local regulatory authority that allows you to prep this special types of foods. When applying for a variance, your regulatory authority may require you submit a HACCP plan. The plan must be accurate and account for food safety hazards related to the food under consideration. Special food productions require this variance. Packaging fresh juice on site. Smoking food to preserve it, but not to enhance flavor. Using food additives or components to preserve or alter food so it does not need time and temperature control. And curing food. Some additional food preparation that will require a variance would be packaging food using reduced oxygen packaging or ROP, sprouting seeds or beans, offering live shellfish from a display tank, or custom processing animals for personal use. Clostridium botulinum and Listeria monocytogenes are risks in reduced oxygen packaged foods. As a food protection manager, it is important that you know the minimum internal cooking temperatures of foods. Let's take a look. 165 for 15 seconds is for poultry, whole or ground, chicken, turkey, or duck. Stuffing made with fish, meat, or poultry. Stuffed meat, seafood, poultry, or pasta. And dishes that include previously cooked TCS ingredients or leftovers. 155 for 15 seconds. Ground meat, beef, pork, and other meats. Injected meat, including brine ham and flavor-injected roasts. Mechanically tenderized meat. Ratites or flightless birds such as ostrich and emu. Ground seafood including chopped or minced seafood. And shelled eggs that will be hot held for service. 145 for 15 seconds. Seafood including fish, shellfish, and crustaceans. Steaks and chops of pork and veal and lamb and beef, of course. Commercially raised game. And shell eggs that will be served immediately. 145 for 15 seconds. Roast can also be cooked to a much lower temperature, but must be held for a much longer time. See the alternate cooking times for roast. The standard cooking temperature for roast is 145 for 4 minutes, and that would be for pork, beef, veal, and lamb. $135. That's for our fruits, vegetables, grains, rice, pasta, and legumes or beans and refried beans. That will be hot held for service. $135. Microwave cooking. All foods in the microwave are cooked to 165. Meat, seafood, poultry, and eggs. There are some special guidelines you should follow when using a microwave for cooking. Cover the food to prevent it from drying out. Rotate or stir the food halfway through the cooking process. Let it stand for at least 2 minutes after cooking to let the food temperature even out. Check the temperature in at least 2 places to make sure the food is cooked through. The proper cooking temperature for microwave foods is 165. If your menu includes raw or undercooked items, or if you offer foods cooked to order, note it on the menu next to the items, or put it in the footnote that indicating that raw or undercooked items may cause foodborne illness. Advise customers who order these foods to be careful. As you know, pathogens grow well in the temperature danger zone. However, they grow much faster in the super danger zone between the temperature of 70 degrees Fahrenheit and 125 degrees Fahrenheit. Food passes through this temperature as it's cooled. Cooling requirements are very specific. Cool TCS foods from 135 to 41 or lower within 6 hours. The first part is to cool the food from 135 to 70 in 2 hours or less. And the second part is to cool the food from 70 to 41 or lower in 4 hours, a combined time of 6 hours or less. If you cool the food from 135 to 70 in less than 2 hours, use the remaining time to cool the food to 41 or lower, as long as the total cooling time does not exceed 6 hours. For example, if you cool the food from 135 to 70 in 1 hour, you have 5 hours to get the food to 41 or lower. Before you start cooling food, reduce its size. Cut larger items into smaller pieces, or divide larger containers into smaller or shallow pans. There are many appropriate methods for cooling food. Let's look at a few examples. Place the food in an ice water bath. Stir the food with an ice paddle. Place the food in a blast chiller or tumble chiller, or use ice or cold water as an ingredient. When storing food for further cooling in refrigerated service, loosely cover the food containing temperature storing. If it was cooked in food can be left uncovered if protected. Food reheated for hot holding must be storing uncovered containers above other food. 165, especially raw seafood within 2 hours, and poultry can help prevent commercially processed and packaged food to 135. These guidelines apply to all heating methods such as ovens and microwave ovens.